few days ago. So yeah, we'll read some things and say some things about Sri Madhavendra Puris. First thing I want to do is just see here. Yes, here, this is a verse here from Caitanya Charitamrita, Madhavendra chapter 4. That is the chapter which is dealing with Madhavendra Puris, or at least the main. Shri Shri Radha Radha Shri Giri Govardhana Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right, so yeah, the main chapter, not the only one actually, but the main one, dealing with Madhavendra Puris, is this fourth chapter of the Madhavendra, which is titled Sri Madhavendra Puris Devotional Service. And the whole chapter, the entire chapter, is focusing solely on Madhavendra Puris. And would you believe, at the end, the second to last verse is it could, perhaps it would be called a phala stuti. Phala stuti, phala meaning fruit, phala stuti, a verse which is describing the result of hearing the description, in this case of Madhavendra Puris. So just to sort of prime you up and get you ready, and hopefully to get you suitably focused and appreciating the value of this. Let me just read this verse. It's from the same chapter 4 of Madhavendra, and it is verse 212. It's actually the second to last verse in the chapter. And it's like a blessing, giving a blessing, saying what is the result of hearing what we're going to be discussing. Shraddha Yukta Hana Iha Shune Ye Jana Sri Krishna Charane say Dana. One who hears this oration with faith and devotion attains the treasure of love of Godhead and the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Isn't that nice? If we listen carefully and don't get our minds drift off too much, then we can get an amazing results. There will be an amazing effect from hearing about Madhavendra Puris. Okay, so here we go. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chakra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chakra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chakra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai while we're at it, let us welcome the devotees who just arrived from Canada.
Viva!
And Vishali, right? Vaishali. Haribol Vaishali. Yes. And Kishori. Haribol Kishori. Okay. Good. Very nice. Very nice. Right. So here, in this part of Caitanya Charitamrita, Lord Caitanya is traveling from Bengal to Jagannath Puri. He's on his way with a small group of very close associates. This is just shortly after he took sannyas, like immediately after he took sannyas actually. And on the way, Lord Caitanya and the group of devotees, which includes Lord Nityananda also actually, they stopped in a village named Remuna. And in Remuna, there was and still is a very famous temple of Gopinath. Gopinath, the form of Lord Krishna. Krishna as the master of the gopis. So there they were, and they arrived, and then in the afternoon, Lord Caitanya he personally explained to all the devotees the history of the temple and the connection with Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was living, well, he was there basically 2 generations before Lord Caitanya. So, perhaps 50 years or something like that, before Lord Caitanya. And Madhavendra Puri is a very special person in our line. He actually, strictly speaking in a technical sense, comes in the line of Madhavacharya. We are known as the Brahma, Madhava, Gaura, Sampradaya. So, Madhavacharya is there in the line. And Madhavendra Puri was specifically in that grouping. So Madhavendra Puri, though, as a very special transcendental personality, well, when the Lord appears, then many devotees appear with him. And some devotees appear before him. And some devotees appear like Madhavendra Puri 50 years before or more than 50 years before him. And they have special duties and different things they do to, in the case of Madhavendra Puri, to set the scene, lay some foundation for the appearance of Lord Caitanya and the mission of Lord Caitanya. So Madhavendra Puri, up until he appeared, generally in the Vaishnava world, the understanding, the idea was that the supreme form of the Lord is Narayana. Lakshmi Narayana. There's no higher. And Krishna, who is Krishna, they know something about Krishna. Who's Krishna? He is like a Leela expansion of Narayan. An expansion of Lord Narayan for the sake of having certain particular enjoyable pastimes. But Madhavendra Puri was the first person to really establish the idea and discuss and live how Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead and Radha Krishna are the Supreme. And actually Narayan are actually expansions from Radha and Krishna and not the other way around. So anyway, there they were on their way to Jagannath, almost there, fairly close, and they stopped overnight at this temple, famous temple with famous and very wonderful deity, which the deity was connected with Madhavendra Puri. And Lord Caitanya told the story to all the devotees at length, the whole story of Madhavendra Puri. So let us go through that story. And we read that Palastuti, that blessing. Anyone who listens very nicely, anyone who hears this narration with faith and devotion, attains the treasure of love of Godhead and the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. How wonderful. So Lord Chaitanya explained there that Madhavendra Puri, he was a sannyasi, and he was traveling mendicant, just moving around, of course, on foot. And he traveled all over India. And he arrived in Vrindavan, Vrajmandala, and we hear that Vrindavan, even at the time of Lord Caitanya or the time of the six Goswamis, Vrindavan was sort of hidden. People were not aware of what is this place and how important is it, and the different pastime places here and there around the Vrindavan area. So it was kind of secret. Even at the time of Lord Caitanya, it was like that. What to speak of at the time of Madhavendra Puri. So, Madhavendra Puri then, he understood, of course, because, well, actually he is an eternal associate of Radha and Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, who descended, like we said, to set the scene for the appearance of Lord Caitanya. You know who or what Madhavendra Puri is in Krishna Lila? He is a tree, a kalpa vriksha, a wish-fulfilling tree in Goloka Vrindavan. And he came down, you think a tree, of course there's so many trees. What's a tree? People don't really take trees so seriously. Certainly not in terms of learning, like hearing what a tree has to say. But Madhavendra Puri, he is a tree. But as a transcendental personality, when he appeared in this world, from that world, he was a great scholar and very dynamic personality. Yes. So he arrived in the Vrindavan area, and the description that Lord Caitanya gives is that at one point, having moved around Vrajmandala for a while, at one point he arrived at Govardhan Hill, very famous pastime place of Lord Krishna. And he circumambulated Govardhan Hill. He did Govardhan Parikrama. And in the evening, he stopped at a place called Govinda Kund. Govinda Kund is right. It's like a small lake, right next to the hill, the famous Govardhan Hill. And there's a village there, even today. There's a village there. And the Kund is there, that body of water is still there. So Madhavendra Puri, he was sitting on the banks of Govinda Kund and chanting. And one young boy came. One young cowherd boy came with a pot, a clay pot of milk, and gave it to him. Here, take this. And the boy said that some of the ladies of the village saw you here, and they assumed you must be hungry, so they asked me to bring this pot of milk. So here it is. Please drink it. Yes, very nice. So you drink it, and I will come back later and retrieve the pot, pick up the pot and take it back. So Madhavendra Puri was very pleased, and he drank the milk, and it was not your clover, particularly not your clover 2%. It was not even your clover full cream. It was just like nectar from not even the heavenly planets, from the spiritual world. So Madhavendra Puri is drinking this milk and thinking, where did this come from? Where did this boy get this from? I've never tasted milk like this at all. So anyway, he drank the milk, and he was waiting for the boy to come back, but the boy didn't come back. So evening came, and then night came, and he didn't exactly sleep. He didn't lie down and sleep, he just sat there and chanted and sort of dozed off a little through the middle of the night sometime. So when he dozed off like that, Madhavendra Puri had a dream, and that same young cowherd boy appeared to him in his dream and spoke to him. And the cowherd boy said, my name is Gopal, and I am the master of this area. And you might think it's strange, little young cowherd boy is the master of the area. But then the boy Gopal gradually introduced, as he's speaking in the dream, introduced more ideas of who he really was. He said, actually, I am a deity. I am a deity of Krishna. And I was worshipped here. But then at some point, unfortunately, the Muslims attacked the village. And so the devotees, they hid me in the forest, right next to the hill, sort of deep in this very thick forest. And then they just abandoned the village because, otherwise they would have just been killed. So they just left and they didn't come back. I'm still there in the forest. So he said, Gopal said to Madhavendra, so in the morning, please gather the village people, get them to bring axes and spades and machetes and things like this for really cutting through the heavy forest, and you'll find me. And when you do find me, please install me on top of the hill. So the next morning, Madhavendra gathered all the villagers, and they gathered all their different implements and instruments for cutting through the forest and digging, and went for it. And after some time, deep in the middle of the forest, but right next to the hill, they found Gopal. They found Gopal. Actually, Gopal, in the dream of Madhavendra Puri, Gopal told him, I was actually installed originally by Vajranath, the great grandson of Krishna. Means he's one of the original 5,000-year-old deities. So they found Gopal and washed him down a bit, and then they carried Gopal to the top of the hill. And they established him on top of the hill, on a big rock. And they put another big rock behind him to support him. And then Madhavendra Puri arranged a great festival. A great festival. First of all, well, they started in the morning. He gathered them in the early morning. They took Gopal to the top of the hill, and then the word spread. Somehow the word spread that Gopal, the long-lost Gopal, has been found, and he's being established now just above Govinda Kund. So people came from the neighboring villages, like just about, say, 3 maybe kilometers away is Govinda village itself, which is quite a bigger village than Govinda Kund. So those people came, and they had a big bathing ceremony. Hundreds of liters of water from Govinda Kund, which of course is Charanamrita from the bathing of Lord Krishna at the end of Govinda Lila. So first of all, they bathed and bathed and bathed. And then when they had bathed Gopal, just hundreds, maybe more than 1,000 liters of water from Govinda Kund, then they massaged him with fragrant oils. They massaged his body. So Gopal became very glossy and very rich and deep looking. And then someone brought some cloth and they dressed Gopal. And some devotees brought different ornaments and necklaces and things. And they decorated Gopal. And then devotees, you know what they did? Then they cooked a feast. It was really a major feast. They cooked, let's see what they cooked. They cooked brought all their stocks of rice, dal, and flour. 10 Brahmins in 10 pots. Things really big, like food for lifestyle. We want to welcome back His Grace Lakshmi while we're at it. Hare Krishna, back from the hospital. Hare Bol, talking about food for life. So 10 Brahmins cooked the grains, and 5 Brahmins cooked dry and liquid vegetables. We do not want to disturb your taste buds by going into too much detail. But they made different preparations from spinach, roots and fruits collected from the forest, and someone made bada and badi by mashing dal. In this way, the Brahmins prepared all kinds of food. 5 to 7 men prepared a huge quantity of chapatis, not South African rotis, but chapatis, the actual, more like the authentic thing. Yeah. So 5 to 7 men prepared a huge quantity of chapatis, which were completely covered with ghee, as were all the vegetables, rice, and dal. So then all the rice and all the veggies and everything and chapatis were placed on like big leaf plates in front of Gopal, and then there was great food offering to Gopal. There were many water pots filled with scented water. And Lord Gopal, who had been hungry for many days, ate everything offered to him. Yes. So like this. And as we mentioned, the word had got out. The word had started to spread. So then what happened was prasadam was distributed to all the village people on a great scale. And people from other villages, not just the immediate villages there near Govardhan Hill, but more in the surrounding regions, different villages approached Madhavendra Puri, and they insisted, we want to worship Gopal. Give us a day. So Madhavendra Puri had to give each village a day. And the village people would come and provide all the ingredients and cook a massive feast for Gopal. And then of course after the feast, arati was offered and there was kirtan. So these different villages, one after the other, villages like Paita. Have you been to Paita? That's an interesting place. Villages like Deeg. That's also an interesting place. All these different villages from around. Villages like, would you believe, there is a village named Song, and it's still there. Yeah, Parasoli. these different Bukhara, these different villages surrounding in the region, just out from Governor Hill. So every day there was a huge offering, and Gopal was worshipped very wonderfully and dressed in new clothes. And arati was offered, and then the prasad was distributed. And it went on for months. It went on for months. This program of village after village, one after the other, coming and having a whole day for worshiping Gopal. So this went on for 2 years. This went on for 2 years. Well, at least the different villages coming, they went on for some months. But Madhavendra Puris stayed there for 2 years. Personally acting basically, you could say, like the temple president. He gave initiation to different people who became pujaris, who looked after the deity, and different devotees were some rich kshatriya came and built a temple building. So it was all going on for 2 years. Then one night, after 2 years, one night after 2 years, Madhavendra Puri had another dream of Gopal. And in this dream, well, actually I forgot to mention, in the first dream, Gopal told Madhavendra Puri that I'm there, I'm stuck in the forest. And when it rains, I get wet. And when it's cold, I get cold. And when it's hot, I get hot. And most of the time it's hot. You know, like there in that part of the world, 9 months of the year it's pretty hot. And the other 3 months it's very hot. Well, not exactly, but you know, there is a winter when it does get cold for a few weeks. But otherwise, it's pretty hot. Like they say about Siberia, 9 months of the year it's cold. The other 3 months it's very cold. So anyway, now it's the second dream. And Gopal tells Madhavendra Puri, you know, everything is very nice. Thank you so much. But I'm still hot. Despite everything. Despite being bathed every day, I'm still hot. You have to help me. So in that dream, Gopal instructed Madhavendra Puri, please, you personally, don't try to send anyone else. You personally, you're the only one who can do this. Please go to Jagannath Puri. And there they have sandalwood forests in those days. Sandalwood forests. And there you can get sandalwood. And you can bring it back here. And then have it ground into paste. And that paste can be put on my body. And it will cool me. But only you can do that. No one else will be capable. So Madhavendra Puri, he arranged things so the temple and the worship would go on while he was away. And then off he went, walking to Jagannath Puri. And that Vrindavan to Jagannath Puri, it's, well, a couple of 1,000 kilometers, or something like that, at least. It's between 1,000 and 2,000 kilometers, more like 2. A couple of 1,000 kilometers, would you say?
I mean, quite long.
Anyway, it's a
10 hours
long way.
journey.
It's a long way. Yeah. So he just had to walk. And on the way back, he would have to carry all the sandalwood. There's a major program. So on the way, he stopped in Ramuna, the same Ramuna, where Lord Caitanya is now, and he's telling the story to Lord Jananda and the other devotees. So Madhavendra Puri stopped there, and he noticed that this temple is very nicely run. What nice arrangements for the deity. The deity has been looked after so wonderfully. And everything is just so clean and first class. And Madhavendra Puri thought they must offer wonderful foodstuffs to Gopinath. I must find out what do they offer to Gopinath, how they prepare it, and when I return to Gopinath Hill later, then I will see the same things get prepared for Gopinath. Very good. So he approached one of the senior pujaris and asked, what foods, what is your program for offering foodstuffs to Gopinath? And the pujari explained all sorts of nice things they regularly offer. But then the pujari said, you know, the main thing that we offer every night, right before the deity is put to rest, every night we offer 12 of sweet rice. Here, it is so nice. It is called Amrita Kali. It's just, and the Pujari said, nowhere in the world is any deity offered a preparation like this. And Madhavendra Puri thought, that's wonderful. I must learn how to prepare it. So I'm going to watch, and I'm going to get some of the prasad and taste it. And then I'll see that it's prepared when I go back, and it's prepared to go down. But then suddenly he thought that what am I doing? What am I thinking? I just want to enjoy eating nice prasadam. This is not good. This is not good. So, feeling embarrassed, Madhavendra Puri, he just quietly exited out of the temple without seeing the offering and without getting any of that sweet, special sweet rice. And he was thinking, I'm a sinful person. I just want to enjoy eating. I don't deserve this. So off he went, just to some other part of the village, to the market. And it was now the evening, the market had closed. So he just found a quiet spot there and took rest. Meanwhile, back in the temple, the pujari put Gopal to rest, and went to take rest himself. So the pujari took rest, and what should happen? Gopinath appeared in his dream, the deity from that temple. And Gopinath told him that I have stolen one of those 12 pots of kheer. It is hidden behind the curtain in front of the altar. I have stolen it for this one particular devotee, Madhavendra Puris. So in the dream, Gopinath instructed the pujari, go back on the altar, find the pot of sweet rice, it's just behind the curtain. Then go to the marketplace and call out for Madhavendra Puris and give him this pot of sweet rice. So the pujari got up, and actually Caitanya Charitamrita describes this interesting little point. He took a bath. Caitanya Charitamrita describes it. He took a bath. Then he went back on the altar and found the pot of sweet rice. Then off he went out into the market in the village, and he's calling out, Madhavendra Puris! Where is Madhavendra Puris? And Madhavendra Puris had taken rest, but he was woken up, he heard this. And he got up, yes, what is it? I'm Madhavendra Puris. And the pujari came and offered dandavats to Madhavendra Puris. You are a very special devotee because Gopinath has stolen this pot of kheer for you. Take it. And he took it. And Madhavendra Puris was just astonished. See the mercy of Gopinath. It's amazing. So he drank the kheer, and sure enough, it was completely out of this world. But he was such a devotee. You know, you get these devotees who cook, and all they have to do is not even, some of them, not even taste the preparation to tell you exactly how it was made, the steps, what at this point, what was done at that point, and what spice first. But all they have to do is smell it, and they can tell you, and they can duplicate it completely. So Madhavendra Puris, he decided, right, when I get back, Gopal is going to get some of this. So then, he broke the pot into pieces and kept the pot. And every day as he was traveling on to Jagannath Puri, every day he would eat a little piece of the pot. Yeah. Appreciating the value of the mercy. So then he arrived at Jagannath Puri and he got to see the king. And the king was a devotee. And the king arranged that he get all the sandalwood and documentation, you know, to sort of validate his possession. And a couple of people to help him carry it back. Prabhupada explains that he was given about 14 kilos of sandalwood. Quite a bit of sandalwood. So then off he went with now his two helpers, 14 kilos of sandalwood, and also about 5 kilos, or maybe 10, I forget, but some few kilos kilos of camphor. So off they went, and on the way they stopped again in Ramuna at the temple of Gopinath. I'm not exactly sure how far it is from Puri, but it's not so far. It's not very far. Anyway, they stopped there and they spent the night. And during the night, Madhavendra Puri had another dream. This time he dreamt again of Gopal. He dreamt of Gopal. And Gopal told him that, you know, Gopinath there in Ramuna and we are one. We're not separate persons. We're one person. So rather than have you struggle to bring so much sandalwood and camphor all the way, please leave it with the devotees here and have it applied on the body of Gopinath. So Madhavendra Puri did that. The pujaris, the devotees from the Gopinath temple in Ramuna, they were extremely happy. And Madhavendra Puri stayed there with his couple of men until all the sandalwood was finished. Yes, and it was all applied to the body of Gopinath. And then Madhavendra Puri returned to Vrindavan. So Lord Caitanya, well, that story of Gopinath stealing the kya, it became famous. It became famous. And the deity was then renamed, at least informally renamed, as Kira Chora Gopinath. Kira Chora. Chor meaning thief. Gopinath who stole the kya. Yes. And if you go there, they know that. They know about it. So now Lord Caitanya has been telling the story. Now Lord Caitanya has just come to the end of telling the story. And Lord Caitanya became so ecstatic, so overwhelmed with ecstasy, telling the story. He just started a kirtan, dancing and chanting wildly in kirtan with Lord Nityananda and there were like 4 or 5 or 6 other devotees, Chandrasekhar and a few others. And they had this amazing kirtan. And Lord Caitanya was exhibiting all these amazing symptoms of transcendental ecstasy. So, when the kirtan finished, and it came time to close the temple, the pujaris gave Lord Caitanya all 12 of the pots of kya. All 12. Actually, it was him and Lord Nityananda and 3 others. Lord Caitanya kept 5 and gave 7 back to the pujaris to distribute. And then Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda and the other 3 members of their party each had a pot of that special kya. You know, I think we're all going to have to go to the Buddha and get some of that kya. We'll have to form a party and go there because we're going to have to experience it. So yes, this is the story of Madhavendra Puri. as described in Caitanya Charitamrita. And like I said, he was the first one to really start explaining and clarifying and spreading the message that Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And of course, Lord Narayan is very, very nice, but he is not the source of Krishna. Krishna is his source. Radha Krishna are the original forms, and Lakshmi Narayan, they're the expansions. So he was preaching that. He was moving around, preaching that. For example, he met Advaita Acharya. Actually, he went to Shantipur, and he met Advaita Acharya. And Caitanya Charitamrita explains, Madhavendra Puri initiated Advaita Acharya. He gave him Diksha. And he was preaching and glorifying Radha and Krishna, and himself, he was in the ecstasy of worship of Radha and Krishna. And Lord Caitanya, after he has read, after he's spoken this whole story, and actually before he begins the kirtan, Lord Caitanya spoke a special verse which Madhavendra Puri used to regularly chant. And Caitanya Charitamrita says, only 3 people know this verse. One is Srimati Radharani. Second is Lord Caitanya himself. And third is Madhavendra Puri. Such a special verse. Obviously we can read it and we can sort of know it, so to speak. But to know it in the sense of realization, that is another story. So then Lord Caitanya started chanting this verse. Aidina Dayadranathe Maturanatha Kadavalokyase Hridayam Tvad Aloka Katara Dayata Brahmyati Kim Karomya. Oh my Lord, it's in the mood of Radharani, lamenting its separation from Krishna. Oh my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now?